Thank you so much for the introduction, Dean Harden. And I think we should all give Marie a huge round of applause for her first full year as Dean of the best communications program in the state, in the country, maybe even the world. I also want to congratulate, of course, all the graduates today, your parents, your grandparents, your BFFs, and of course, every other guest here to honor the College of Communications class of 2015. So this is actually my second time giving the commencement address at Penn State. The first was actually 17 years ago. Today, though, the pressure is really on because I unfortunately read the article in the Onward State blog that said, "Why do Penn State's commencement speakers suck?" So I just want to apologize for not being Bono or even Oprah. And gosh, I'm actually still the publisher at the same company that I was when I gave my first speech 17 years ago. So maybe I should have just repeated it. But no way, because in the ever-changing world of communications, my job is nothing like it was 17 years ago. In 1998, I worked for a magazine company. Today, I work for a content company operating with a multi-platform mentality. 17 years ago, there was no social media, there was no Instagram, there was no LinkedIn, there were no smartphones. I don't know how we existed. In 1998, Google was 2 years old and just got its first round of funding. Driven by newer and faster technology, the discovery process for news and information is more personal and personalized. Content comes from both individuals and respected sources. My last commencement address was recorded on a videotape with a camera that was like as big as second base at Medlar Field, probably. It was not live streamed or posted on YouTube. But what has remained constant for me in all of these years is the fun and the passion that I have for what I do. Work is not a four-letter word, if you love your job. I'm very jealous of all of you guys because the exploding world of media means there are so many tremendous opportunities as you set out on your journey to find a lifelong passion to pursue. So as they like to say, tomorrow being the first day of the rest of your life, I thought I'd share some recommendations that might help you along the way. You have completed step one. You've gotten an amazing education. So what's next? My first piece of advice is to always act like an underdog. That means to be more passionate than everyone around you about your work. I assumed that everyone was smarter than I was when I got to my first job. And that basic inferiority complex led me to work harder, be more inquisitive, and more enthusiastic than the people around me. And there will always be smarter people around you, but you can shine through with creativity, dedication, and really strong people skills. Next, very important, do not let your job go to your head. No matter what brand you work for, remember, please, it's all about the brand and not about you. It's not, oh, I work for Oprah, I'm so important, la, la, la. What people will remember is your ability to motivate others to further the success of a brand. So check your ego at the door. Also, something really important is to exceed expectations. Over-deliver and consistently, and one day you will make a nice living. Except I must tell you, early in your career, you will be near starvation. I started at $8,000 a year. Now, I know it was a long time ago, 1978, but even in 1978, $8,000 a year was not very much. That was $154 a week before taxes. But you have to be patient about your salary and your career growth. It doesn't happen until you prove your value as an employee. And this really takes time. So first you should really focus on fitting in and then work at standing out. And don't really focus on the optics of looking successful, because ultimately people will measure you by the size of your heart, not the size of your house or your apartment. And please don't forget to create balance in your life. Raising two fabulous children, Stephanie and Ross, and Stephanie's up there somewhere, is probably the greatest achievement and accomplishment that I had in my life. And understand how fast time goes and make it a priority. From your biological clock to the fact that your kids are only young ones, know that you can make this balance work if you're organized and focused. It will keep you grounded as your career soars. There was no job sharing, there was no flex time, paternity leave, or telecommuting when I had kids. And I would say that the field of communications now offers more flexibility than most, so take advantage. And I'm not just telling you this because your parents all asked me to, okay? But it is Mother's Day, so we should say Happy Mother's Day to all the proud moms here today. So my next nugget is to be ethical, both personally and professionally. Your reputation will follow you everywhere you go throughout your career. And being ethical does not guarantee career success, but being unethical is certain to guarantee failure. For example, what I do, advertising is an implied endorsement. I need to be sure there is nothing that conflicts with the core DNA of my magazine, no matter how much money is being dangled in front of my face. I am the morality meter of my magazine. And I have a rule: if it makes me smirk like this, then I really don't do it. You have to trust your gut on what is right. Business relationships and your reputation are built on trust and credibility. Always do the right thing, even when no one else is looking, and there will never be any need to worry. Next is don't hide behind technology. Being in the communications business means face-to-face contact with clients and staff. Always make the effort to get right in front of the people that you need to motivate. There is no way to have your passion and enthusiasm come through an email. It is not the way to deliver news, whether good or bad. And I want to tell you, it is not the way to get someone's attention when you're looking for a job. Write complete sentences and do not live within 140 characters. I saw this quote on Facebook that I loved. Texting is a brilliant way to miscommunicate how you feel and misinterpret what other people mean. In the spirit of full disclosure, I actually did find both my husband and dog on the internet, so it's not all bad. Not all bad at all. It's important to actually remember to mentor others. And I know you're all sitting there thinking, like, who the heck am I supposed to be mentoring right now? It might be hard, a little hard to believe, but you are all finding a job and you will all have a career. And you know that Penn State has the largest dues-paying alumni association in the country. There are other ways to pay your dues too, like maybe one day you might give a commencement address. But all 727 of you, once you get settled, can help another student from Penn State find an internship or a permanent position when they graduate. Remember to pay it forward. It's the least we can do to further the success of the greatest communication program in the world. Help a future graduate get a job. And you also need to serve as a mentor in other ways. Get involved in your community, keep up with important causes, and speak up for those without strong voices. After all, those people often have the most to say. Yes, people will ask you for money. Look at the collective power of Thon. You guys raised $13.3 million for pediatric cancer, the largest run student philanthropy in the country, I might add. So if you can't afford to give money, know that you can always give your time. It's also really important to be a collaborator. One of life's most important lessons we should have learned in kindergarten, and that is to play nicely in the sandbox. That holds true for adults in the real world too. Bring people together, do not divide them. And just like at home, people need to feel nourished, appreciated, and motivated to work hard. Since people will respond to both your actions and your words, remember to acknowledge others every day. Say those important words that your parents taught you, please and thank you. Train your team to take risks and give them straight and honest constructive feedback, whether they win or lose. And never, ever, ever take credit for something you did not do yourself. Understand that ideas are best when built upon, not when they are shot down. So give everyone a seat at the table and listen. And finally, from up here, it looks like no one has fallen asleep yet, so that's a very good sign. But this is a really important one. Put your phone down and focus on experiences instead of documenting them for a later date. This is not a dress rehearsal, this is it. You know the old saying that the view only changes for the lead dog. Well, the same can be said if you're always staring at your phone. And a very important personal realization that I've had, a vast majority of you are moving into your mid-20s and your metabolism will change. When you come back to State College, maybe have only a half of a cheesesteak and skip that sticky bun that I ate at 2 a.m. Save the calories for the creamery. This advice has served me and my waistline very well. So when I wrote my address and I read it and I decided that I had to add one more point, because if you knew me, you would know more is just more. So be resilient and be thankful. While your education is certainly the first big step towards a wonderful career, I think your upbringing has as much to do with your future success. My parents inspired me with their perseverance, hard work, and encouragement. I was raised to dust off, shrug off, and laugh off life's little and big challenges. My father dropped out of school in the 9th grade, and he is the smartest man I will ever know. I am a first-generation college graduate in my family. Mom and Dad taught me much of what has made me successful in business, and for the sacrifices that they made, I thank them every day. So I think we should kind of end here with all of you turning around and thanking your parents and others who have acted as your parents. So all together, on the count of 3, we're going to say thank you. 1, 2, 3, thank you! Yay! So I fear that a tweet will be coming soon about the latest long and boring commencement speech. So let me just wish all of you a life filled with health, happiness, love, success, but most of all with possibility and passion. Congratulations to the class of 2015. We are... All right.